We're here with Porsche and Forza at the New York Auto Show, and you guys have a big announcement. The brand Porsche is coming back to probably one of my all-time favorite racing game franchises, Forza Motorsport. When we met, there have been times when Porsche cars haven't been in the game, and that's usually one of the first questions I always ask you.
So we've gotten into a 6-year partnership, and the exciting thing about this is it's beyond just the cars. This is actually about building community and also about building experiences. So there are Porsche experiences around the United States and elsewhere around the world. And what's great about Porsche is how they build community. One of the most winningest manufacturers in the world with an extensive community of drivers at all sorts of levels at different track days and the like. Well, we're doing the same thing at Forza Motorsport.
Using the game to enthuse people about cars.
Yeah, so right now we're announcing a 7-car car pack in Forza Horizon 3, as well as cars that you're going to be able to earn with no cost at all just by playing Forza Horizon 3 in Forzathon. But it's well beyond that. It's more than the cars now. It's getting into those experiences like the Forza Racing Championship. So being able to do an in-person event at our flagship store, the Microsoft flagship store in Manhattan. And that's a 2-day event with our top 20 racers. There's professional drivers, there's a Porsche instructor there, and it's just going to be a cool extravaganza. But we're also starting the Season 3 of the Forza Racing Championship in the beginning of May. Now that is where we really shine.
Right.
You know, the in-person events are exciting, but as a game maker and as a community maker, I get more excited about that. So we have 4 million players playing in the Porsche world right now, every month. And of those 4 million, we were able to get nearly 40,000 of them playing in last season's Forza Racing Championship.
You know, big esports until now have been, you know, games that I don't quite understand, like Dota and that kind of stuff. But, you know, it seems like the racing genre is now kind of getting much more serious. Are you seeing that with engagement through the racing championship?
I think that it is beginning to. But as I really look at it, my aspirations here and what we're hoping to do with both Forza and Porsche is to push it to a new place. So I love esports. I think it's quite fun to watch. But what's great is it's so interactive. So the community is really part of the competition through streaming. And when you look at technologies like Beam, where it's low latency and you can actually communicate back to people, that actually is a new way of creating interactive content. But more than anything, it democratizes the skill level between a professional and someone who's just getting engaged recreationally. It's a big difference between that and you know, European football or American football, where the gulf between an enthusiast and a professional is so great. There's genetics involved, there's socioeconomic situations, education in some cases, that we're able to pull that down and have, again, 40,000 participants. But I think this is still just the beginning. Motorsport needs to evolve. So my goal here is not that Forza Racing Championship mirrors real-world motorsport, though I love real-world motorsport. It needs to take on a life of its own that is unique to the virtual platforms and is something you can't see on Sunday anywhere else. You're only going to see it in this place. So at that point, I don't feel it's yet come of age.
Right.
I still think we have to work with the community, both real-world communities like Porsche's, as well as virtual communities, to make new types of experiences that draw a new, younger generation into cars in ways that today's motorsport offerings in the real world just don't interest them.
What goes through sort of Porsche's thinking process when deciding to engage with a video game franchise and getting the cars out there? I mean, is it about opening up, you know, the brand to new people, or you know, do you have to be careful the way that the cars are represented, you know, in the games, that kind of thing?
For us, the Microsoft Forza platform is the best platform to reach out to a young target group and to provide them with an interactive and emotional brand experience wherever they are in the world, whatever age they have. So we can do storytelling, proactive storytelling, and ensure great high-quality brand experience. So fans and gamers can really enjoy the big heritage of our brand. So historical cars, current cars, and even race cars. Only our works drivers are able to drive and race them in the real life.
Right.
So to race with a 919 hybrid or with a GT3 Cup car, that's for everybody now possible. And these interactive experience we want to enrich together now in the direction of esports. That's for us the first proactive step in that area to even have the competition that we have in real life in motorsports. We can now bring to our fans in a virtual way. So virtual racing and a virtual competition.
So you think that there might come a day where, in addition to the Porsche Young Driver team, you have like a Porsche e-driver team?
That's something we definitely looking into it. At the moment it's a bit too early to talk about that, but why not? We have a biggest works driver fleet in the motorsport world. We have a junior program where we educate young race drivers to become a Porsche works driver and a professional race driver. And we are observing the esports area and see if there is something feasible to build up a team, or if we support in a different way. So that's, I believe, something we can talk in the future about that.
Right. The decisions that go into which cars to feature into the games, I know that's always a, you can only have a limited amount of cars in there and they take a long time to model. Are there many discussions about, no, we must have like the 550 Spider or...
Well, what's interesting is we've had a lot of strong partnerships with different manufacturers over the years, and a lot of this is as the gaming population has come into prominence. And obviously, Forza represents a segment of the gaming population with strong passion. But the relationships, they take on a life of their own based on, is it marketing or is it technology or is it about racing and some combination. What's been fantastic about the Porsche relationship in particular is that it's about community building and it's about storytelling. And once you start getting into that, it really frees up the creators, so the designers, the artists, what have you on the team, to be telling in-game stories. But it also frees up Porsche, which create amazing experiences for their community and their fans, to be coming up with new ideas. So the reason we want to get into a 6-year partnership, which is a little bit atypical of the ones that we've done, is so that we can tell longer stories and we can build new ideas. So when it comes to capturing the cars, we're good at that.
Right.
Laser scan cars, we get CAD data from the manufacturers, we are able to usually speak the same language as the engineers and therefore get exactly the data we need to feed our simulation. In the process, we usually learn something about how they set up a given technology that may be bespoke to their cars, and it makes our simulation better. But that's what we're good at, so we've done that with every partnership so far. But this level of storytelling, which I think you first would have seen in the Porsche expansion in the Forza Motorsport, is exactly the type of experience that we can provide in-game. So the other thing that I love about this is it's not about a marketing funnel to get gamers to buy some given car, what have you, which is very much by definition a flash in the pan. What's hot this year? Instead, we can be looking at the heritage models, and that's very unique to Porsche, having this level of heritage and storytelling and the works drivers that can tell those stories like in the expansion. That is just a cool experience for gamers.
Fans and gamers, they really honor these efforts, so to have the cars in a virtual way in the best quality and to be able to jump in a car they are not in a real life able to. If it's a historical car, if it's a race car, and we can provide these opportunities, so that is well received.
Do you get a lot of feedback from the community about are you besieged with requests for, hey, can we have the 91730? Can we have the 917K?
So the process of choosing cars is really difficult. We receive a lot of wish lists, and many fans are they know the history of our cars really well, and they have their personal hero car they want to have integrated in the games, and it's a good discussion we are having which cars we like to see. Sometimes we have a good story to tell, so if it is a new car that's coming up, we can show the heritage of the car and the history. If it is a specific Le Mans car, we can link that to the Le Mans history, and so it's a good chance to do storytelling and to not even just place a car, but tell a story and have an interactive experience with history and with current.
Do you guys have a favorite Porsche in the game, either of you?
Well, so I was really excited to get the air-cooled 1995 911 into the Horizon 3 expansion or car pack, but the one that has the most sort of heritage for me, where it crosses over between Porsche passion and Forza Motorsport, is the 73 Carrera RS.
The ducktail.
Yeah, so that car, when we were first building our prototype for Forza Motorsport, so this was long before it was called Forza, and this was long before we were called Turn 10. A small group of people building an engine. And we were starting to create cars that were archetypes that would prove out that our physics were accurate. So we needed rear engine, we needed classic rear-wheel drive, we needed front-wheel drive, we needed all of these different things. Well, one of the first cars we actually put forward was the 73 Carrera RS, because we figured if we could capture and truly simulate the physics of that car, it would be a true test of our physics engine. You know, the vintage tires, the rear weight, and so I have put more laps in that car over the last 15 years than I can possibly explain to people. And Porsche is at the heart of all of our ideation. So we had Porsche in the first Forza Motorsport, but also when you get to the user interface of Forza Motorsport 3, we used a Porsche brochure to inspire
that I didn't know.
The white negative space and the way that a car was presented. So in many ways, Porsche has already been integrated into the creative process of the Forza franchise for 15 years. We're simply now inking the deal, in a sense.
My favorite in the game?
Beside the RS 2.7, I always love to drive the 918 Spire. It is the highest performance car we have right now, and it's still amazing to see that force on the track, and still the accuracy to drive it, the handling, and that is what I'm not able to have in real life, so I use it in a virtual way.
Awesome. Thank you so much.